This is Ms. Schultz, and what this video is about is going to be a brief summary of how to access the databases for your graduation project. All right, so the first thing you want to do is go to your student portal. Your student portal should be the first screen that comes up when you open up Google Chrome. Okay, it should look like this. When you get here, I want you to scroll and I want you to select One Access. What this is going to do is direct you to the public library's website. What One Access is it's a relationship between CMS and the public library that means your student ID number is your library card. Now, this is very helpful when we're talking about checking out books, but it's really helpful when we want to do research because it means that we have access to over 150 of the public library's databases. Now, for our research purposes, we're going to be using the SURS Knowledge Source database. The reason we're using SURS Knowledge Source is because it is a database specifically about social issues. So that's exactly what your project's about. So it means the collection of information in there is just related to social issues. And as I've told you before, using a database means that the information that you're going to be using has already deemed to be reliable. You still need to pay attention to the date, and you still need to pay attention to point of view or bias, but you don't have to worry about authority and whether or not it's relevant or whether it is appropriate for you. So you're going to scroll down the resources list to SURS Knowledge Source. SURS is SIRS Knowledge Source. This list is in alphabetical order, so you do have to scroll a little bit to get there. But once you do, there it is. When you go to SURS Knowledge Source, I want you to click Access Now. Now, many of you will get a screen asking you to sign in with your student ID number. All you do is sign in with your student ID number, and then it will bring you to the SURS Knowledge Source website, which is right here. Okay. Looking at the home page of SURS Knowledge Source. For those of you that are a little confused about your topic, at the bottom of the main page is actually a list of all kinds of issues. This can be used to stimulate ideas about maybe where you want to go with your project. It even breaks it down by the type. So if you're interested in civil rights, you can see what's under there, drugs, health and wellness, etc., etc. Okay, but this is a great place to start if you're unsure of where to go. For those of you that know your topic already, what you want to do in your head is summarize your topic in 1 to 2 words. So for example, if you're researching homelessness, the word should be homelessness. Human trafficking, it should be human trafficking, okay? What we call this is a keyword or search term. Since it encapsulates the main idea of your research, it is going to be the main words you use when you are searching for information. So the purposes for me for this project, I'm going to choose global warming. I've decided that that is what I'm going to write my paper on. So what you want to do is search that main word. Now, you may get a different screen depending on what your topic is. Global warming is a big controversial issue. So the screen that I get also has essential questions and different resources they've already pulled about it. It even has thesis suggestions down here and has resources for supporting the thesis. Some of you may not have a screen that looks like this. Some of you may have a screen that just lists resources. Both are right and both are good and helpful. At the top up here, where it says see also, I want you to think of these as secondary keywords that you can use to do your search. For example, we use global warming as our main word, but what if you combine global warming with acid rain? When you do this, you're going to be getting a different list of resources, okay? And if I change acid rain to perhaps polar bears, global warming, how does it affect polar bears? I may also get a different list of resources. The key point here is if you're struggling to find information about your topic, change your search terms, okay? When I search global warming, I'm just getting information about global warming. Now, when I search global warming acid rain, it's only pulling sources that are about acid rain as it relates to global warming, okay? So my search becomes more specific. The more specific you are in your search terms, the more specific you are going to get when you are actually conducting your research, okay? So when you see a list of resources, the first thing you'll notice is source type, okay? You can pick newspapers, magazines, reference, primary sources. You need at least one primary source to complete this project, okay? So what we're going to do is narrow this down to newspapers. Okay. What's really important when you're conducting research is that you are conducting research in the most effective and efficient way possible. What this means is that you're finding the information you need to find and you're finding it as fast as possible. You don't want to waste your time with research. So here are a couple of tips for not wasting your time. The first thing, look at the headline. If it doesn't seem like it's going to be helpful to you, move on to the next article, okay? Also, look at the date. Okay, you should be picking resources that are no more than 5 years old. The reason is that you are doing research on social issues. Information we have about different social issues changes all the time. So for example, what we know about global warming has changed a great deal, even within the past 5 years. But getting an article that's from 1993 isn't going to be as up to date and relevant as something that is from February 6th, 2018. So try to keep your resources at this point from 2012 to present. The only exception to this is if you're looking at government documents such as laws, okay? So if your topic refers to a law in the United States, you can use older documents such as the law, which would be a primary source, and that can be older. That's perfectly fine. So you look at the headline, you look at the date, and then take a look at the summary. Okay, read the summary. If the article seems interesting to you, then use it. If it doesn't seem interesting to you, move on. For our purposes, I'm going to select this article. All right, when you're looking at an article, first thing, if you click over here on the listen button, the article can be read to you. It is a little bit of a boring voice, but it can also translate the article into 15 different languages. If you happen to translate your article and that's not helpful, just remember to hit the back button. It will go back to English. Okay. So when you're taking a look at the article, I then recommend that you use Control F. This is a keystroke, Control F, Control Find. What happens when you click on Control Find is a little search bar pops up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for my word global warming, which was the one that I used as my search term. Control F will tell me how many times this word appears in my text, and it'll also show me where it appears. This doesn't just work on databases, this works on anything on your computer. And the way it's helpful is it tells you where the word appears. So you can read around it and you can read the context it's used in. And if you're noticing that it appears not in a way that would be helpful to you, then move on to another article. However, if it does seem like it would be a good article for you to use, then read it. Once you decide to go with an article, the next thing I would tell you to do is you better save that citation. You can click Cite in this upper menu, okay? You can click Cite, and what Cite will do is bring you to the bottom of the article and provide you with the MLA 8 citation. You would want to copy this and paste it into a Google Doc. The reason I tell you to do this immediately is because it is really easy to delete information you don't need, but it's really hard to find an article in a database that you looked at one time if you don't have any information about it, okay? A citation has all the information you would need in order to locate that again. So you know who the author is. You know what the title of the article was. So if you want to go back to that article, All you have to do is search the title or the author. The last thing this does is this connects directly to EasyBib. So if you decide that you're going to use an article and you want to save the citation, click Export to EasyBib and it will export it to your account. Ultimately, what you will do in EasyBib is create your works cited page. So this is a really important feature that you should remember. All right, so now you're pretty much prepared to start research on your own. Remember, I showed you the SIRS Knowledge Source database, but there are still over 150 databases available to you in the public library that you can use for research. So if SIRS doesn't seem like one that's going to be helpful, you are more than welcome to try and use the other ones. ProQuest is another one that I would recommend. If you know how to use one database, you know how to use them all. If you ever have any questions about how to access the database or how I can help you, please come and see me. I'd be more than happy to help. Thank you.